For under $500, what are the best 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray disc players for movie watching? There are only 4 that I can recommend because I have used them over the last several years for my TV reviews, so you know they just work. But they have different features depending on what you're willing to pay. So between $200 and $500, one of these 4 will be for you. That's right, you don't have to pay over $900 just to get support for Dolby Vision, HDR, HDR10+, 3D movies. So then you ask, why would someone pay over $900, $1,200 for a Blu-ray player? We'll go over that as well. What is that premium? What is that additional feature you're getting for $1,000? And maybe you might need it, but I don't think you will. So today I explain why you don't have to spend more than $500 to get all the essential features in your Ultra HD 4K Blu-ray player. But first, if you need a good HDMI cable to connect to your new Blu-ray player, check out today's sponsor. This video was sponsored by RuiPro. Introducing RuiPro CO2 rated 8K HDMI 2.1 fully certified optical cable. Your ultimate link to ultra high definition home cinema and high performance gaming. Now I've been using this green RuiPro cable since 2021 for all my TV reviews currently connected to my Kaleidoscape system. But it was not CL2 rated for in-wall installations. This one is. So I brought it to the Value Electronics Flagship Face-Off event last spring, connecting it to my camera and my computer. Even running it under the carpeting, and you saw the 8-hour live stream. It ran flawlessly. In addition to CL2 rating, its 48 gigabit per second capability means 4K 120, 8K 60, and even 10K resolution support. As a matter of fact, this is the cable I've been using for my TV reviews for the last 2 months, and I expect to use it for quite a while because it comes with a 5-year warranty. Don't wait to elevate your viewing experience. Buy your RuiPro 8K HDMI cable on Amazon today. Depending on the time of year, you won't have to pay any more than between $200 and $500 for any of the disc players I've listed in the video description below. Now, as I go through my list from least expensive to most expensive at around $500, I'll also give you the features that separate each model. Obviously, as you go higher up, you'll get more and more features, but whether those features are important to you is another matter. So let's go over those essential features. First and foremost, all 4 of my recommended players do have 4K HDR support. That's the basic for HDR movie watching, right? Now beyond that, there will be things like Dolby Vision support, HDR10+, maybe automatic detection of those formats, and so forth. And so if those are important to you, then pay close attention because you might have to pay more for it. And some of you might even ask right now, what, is Dolby Vision support even important? See, this is kind of a loaded question because Dolby Vision movies, right? Let's say you have a disc and there's Dolby Vision on it. So let me show you as an example. You pay good money for this Columbia Classics collection, and specifically, Lawrence of Arabia was remastered in Dolby Vision. And you want to make sure your player supports Dolby Vision, right? And so you're asking me, so which player should I get? And my response to you is, yes, that is correct. However, does your TV support Dolby Vision? So that's another thing you have to remember. Even though your disc player supports Dolby Vision, you have to make sure your TV can support Dolby Vision. And not just that, it's not enough that the TV supports Dolby Vision. Does it do a good job? So if Dolby Vision is important to you and you want a player that has Dolby Vision, select a TV that does it well. And right now, the TV that consistently does Dolby Vision well are the LG OLED series, whether it's the G4 this year or the C4 or last year's C3, G3. Now, among the Sony TVs, it's a mixed bag. They don't all do a great job with Dolby Vision in terms of accuracy. I believe last year's Sony A95K, or the previous year's Sony A95K, did a better job than last year's A95L. But consistently, LG OLED TVs have rendered Dolby Vision accurately. So that's something to think about. But more importantly, these Blu-ray players that do support Dolby Vision, they all do a good job, right? It's the same thing. They take the Dolby Vision source, they send it to your TV, and it's up to your TV to do a good job of rendering that Dolby Vision image accurately. So whether Dolby Vision is important to you or not, make sure it's end-to-end, meaning the player supports Dolby Vision and your TV supports Dolby Vision well, accurately, right? Okay, but moving on from that, what about HDR10+? To me, it's not as big of a deal, right? HDR10+, there are a few movies that have it, but in comparing it side by side, I didn't see much of a difference between HDR10+ and regular HDR, which all of these disc players do support, and all the movies that say HDR, it's HDR10. So the disc players all support HDR10, so that's fine for you. And of course, you know if you need 3D support, and only one of the players do not support 3D movies. With all of that out of the way, let's start with the least expensive player on my list, and that would be the Panasonic UB420 at around $219. It has HDR support, of course, and 3D movie support, but no Dolby Vision, no HDR10+. This is the basic player that does everything right. It has a snappy UI, it just works. But if you do need Dolby Vision support, you have to pay a little bit extra. That would be the Sony X700M. It has Dolby Vision support, but no 3D support. So you have to choose. If you're trying to save money, do you need 3D or do you need Dolby Vision? And the Sony also, in the Dolby Vision support, you have to manually enable it. So let's say you're watching a movie on a disc, right? There's no Dolby Vision on that disc. No problem, put it into the player, it'll play it. However, if it has Dolby Vision on the disc and you want to watch it in Dolby Vision because your TV supports Dolby Vision, like an LG C4 or G4, you have to go into the menu and enable Dolby Vision. And then when you put in another disc that doesn't have Dolby Vision support on the disc or Dolby Vision version of the disc, you have to go back in there and turn off Dolby Vision. Otherwise, it'll look kind of funky, right? So it's kind of inconvenient, but if you want auto detect, meaning it sees the disc and it knows that disc has Dolby Vision or doesn't have Dolby Vision, the player automatically enables or disables the Dolby Vision feature. You're gonna have to pay a little bit more. And that's for a little later because the next one is also manual enablement of Dolby Vision, but it includes both Dolby Vision and 3D as well. So you want both Dolby Vision and 3D, you pay a little bit more for the Sony X800M2 at $329. So now you have both Dolby Vision and 3D, but you're paying a little bit more and you're still manually choosing to enable Dolby Vision when the disc demands it, or not if you don't want to watch the Dolby Vision version, right? So moving on, you're lazy like me. You want it to auto-detect Dolby Vision and HDR10+, because so far, none of these players support HDR10+, except for the next one. That would be the Panasonic UB820. That's $499.99 MSRP. When it's on sale, oftentimes it's closer to $400 around Black Friday, so keep an eye out for it. But normally it's $499. That is my workhorse player for TV reviews. The Panasonic UB820 is the best of the bunch because it auto-detects both Dolby Vision and HDR10+. And its UI, it's quick and snappy, and the remote is great. I love this player. For $499.99, I believe this is the best player money can buy for all the features that we've listed. Now you're asking, okay, you got a bit more money in your pocket. What if you're willing to pay more? What are you getting? And that's what we're going to talk about next is, what if you have $900 burning in your pocket? What would you get? Well, for $900, you get this additional feature called multi-region support. If you need multi-region support, this beast right here is the Revon X100. It's definitely well made. It's much heavier than the UB820 and it offers multi-region support, but the UI is not as snappy or flashy as the UI, the user interface on the UB820, and it doesn't have HDR10+, and it doesn't have the auto detect capability of the Panasonic UB820. So maybe you want all of that. Well, for just over $1,000, the Panasonic UB9000, while it doesn't have multi-region support, what it does offer is the dual XLR stereo outputs, and it's THX certified, which I don't think is a big deal, but hey, if that certification is important to you, but essentially it's more of a cosmetic thing, better audio preamp output, and a heavier case, so you're paying for something that feels substantial. That's going to cost you $1,100. I don't think it's worth it, but if you do, you know what you're paying for is XLR balanced outputs, a heavier case, and I believe better DACs, right? Now, what if you go even higher up that pricing scale to the magnetar, right? $1,500, $1,600. What are you getting? Now, all the bits and pieces inside the player are exotic, well built. It is super heavy. Op amps are exotic. Everything is awesome. The DACs are even more expensive, and it supports both Dolby Vision and HDR10+. But ironically, I think the Panasonic UB820 and 9000 has a better UI. And if you want multi-region support on the magnetar, make sure you talk to your dealer and tell them you want multi-region support and they have to get you a special version. Oh wait, you want to know what TV should you connect it to? Watch my TV reviews all around here, 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 and here to see which TV is going to work great with your brand new Blu-ray player. Until next time, stop the FOMO.